It's becoming so generic. This is the city of Tokyo, big enough to have multiple characters in different districts, probably similar to Buenos Aires. If you analyze that to table with your family, it's a kind of diverse table with diverse ingredients. Very fun. But developers are introducing this kind of prepackaged program. These are the two recent huge commercial development that happened in Tokyo. You can see the ingredients is completely the same. So what used to be very different in each area in Tokyo is becoming more and more similar to each other because of these huge developments. So we compare that to a bento box. I don't know if you know bento box. It's a Japanese kind of prepared box. So what used to be very diverse and interesting as your city's experience is becoming more and more flat and similar. I mean, that's not, I'm using Japan, but it's, as we are saying, experiencing, it's happening everywhere. And although architects are trying very hard to make different forms, different facade, different height, whatever, but the ingredients is always the same. So the experience is inherently similar, which we find very alarming. Although as a sad thing as an architect, you have, when you're commissioned to do a mixed-use building, of course we are so delighted to do it. This is one example. This is in Jersey City. This is Manhattan. Ironically, the renaissance of Jersey City happened after 9/11 when the financial sector moved to the other side of the river. And you can see in the coastline the new buildings that's post 9/11, and these are the fabric that existed before 9/11. Our site was in between. Developer came first with this sketch, and we politely said no. But we realized that how difficult or how harsh the kind of rule of developer is, so we decided to actually investigate that further so that we can transform that rule into something more interesting. So all this, we decided to make a form that is completely based by the developer's rule. So we identified each program, such as apartments, hotel, and artist loft, and even identified an ideal box of each program, and then stacked them on top of each other like a wooden block. So in our mind, we almost picked all the buildings around it, which is a perfect developer volumes, and then stacked them on top of each other. That produces this kind of interesting public spaces throughout the building. Because developers were very happy because inside each box, it has almost a perfect plan, and as a whole, it has a very iconic expression. So each terraces are for residents, hotel, artists. Structure was also optimized as a central core, basically structure and a concrete beam, and after that it's a conventional flat slab structure. We deliberately made a facade also very conventional to emphasize the fact that it's an assembly of usual buildings around you. But of course, the effect on the skyline is quite dramatic. One of the rare Latin American experience we had, which we wish we would like to have more, is in Mexico City. They were also having Bicentenario 2010. Latin America, as you know well, in terms of a high-rise race, it's a bit behind because of the earthquake zone, I think. And our site was in the Chapultepec Park at the edge of the city and the park. The site was very small, so we could only fit 40 by 40 meter square, which made the tower more than 400 meter tall, which we thought it was impossible to achieve, inefficient. So we decided to grow horizontally. So we pulled this point, 100 meter datum, which was about the height of the buildings around, and pulled towards the park. That made a shape like this. That was explained to the client that it's a two pyramid put together, like your culture. I wouldn't do that to Argentina. But, so you can see the dramatic increase in size, but it goes back to 40 by 40 at the top to accommodate the need of the developer. So you can see how this point somehow relates to a little bit to the surrounding datum. And the other side was very straight. And from the park, you see the belly. We started to call this building a pregnant building because it looks like a pregnant lady. So we decided to conceive a child inside, this one. Which is actually, I'm joking, but it was, of course, had a function. First of all, it connects two sides, park and the city side. And also it provides the light into the area that was too deep to get any light in. So it really looks like a kind of object inside a tower. So you can look up to the sky, or you can look to the other side across the atrium, or you can look down to the park. The structure was made so that the tower was very robust, and this attached belly part was very lightweight. And we also decided to make a building that doesn't resemble to typical Mexican typology, which has a really heavy mega bracing because of the earthquake. So we wanted to do something more elegant and opposite. So these we call a cable structure. It's more often, and we mobilized everything as a structure, and it has a 30 centimeter diameter circle. And we, of course, give a press package to press, but they redraw it in their favor, basically uglier, always. So this was kind of we undercover ourselves and went into one of the protests. Just kind of very homey and nice, so we felt a little bit bad. And in the end, they analyzed to a kind of reverse coffin. And after that, the mayor who was supportive to us withdrew, so the project got canceled. Another tower in Manhattan, 22nd Street, Broadway. So this is a Flatiron building. It was a very strange project because it was this developer. When we got the commission, this tower was already built. And it's in the Midtown area. This is being looked at it from Brooklyn. This is the tower. You can see each identity of towers. In the Midtown, it's so dense that you don't perceive any identity. At that time, architects were really working hard to, or developers and architects were working hard to get attention and basically add a value to any condominiums using shapes, facade, reference. But since the Flatiron building was very close to our site, we thought we could learn from this building, which was very effortlessly iconic by just extruding the triangular site